welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Janice here. Today, I'm very excited to share my tips on how you can achieve 4 A stars in your A-levels. Having gone through A-levels myself, I understand that it can be extremely challenging, especially when it comes to effective revision. For context, I took 4 subjects, which were further maths, economics, and physics. If you're aiming to get 4 A stars in these 4 subjects, then continue watching because you're in the right place. Even if you're taking other subjects, this video will still be very useful for your revision. Let's dive right into it. My first tip is to prioritize understanding more than memorizing the content that you have learned. Let me tell you guys a story. During A-levels, I was solving a maths past year paper and I felt really stuck. So I decided to look for solutions on YouTube to watch how other people were solving it. After watching some videos, I could solve the questions, but it wasn't because I understood the concepts. It was merely because I was mimicking the steps shown. So that was a huge red flag to begin with. As a result, I only achieved 87% for maths in AS. Realizing my mistake, I changed my approach. Instead of memorizing the steps to solve, I actually took the time to really understand the concepts and the reasoning behind each solution before composing an answer. I believe this was what allowed me to achieve an A star in A2. My next tip is to practice topical questions before moving on to yearly past paper questions. This allows you to thoroughly understand and master one concept at a time. By doing so, you can better identify the types of questions related to each topic. Once you're confident with individual topics, you can then move on to practice the yearly past paper questions where you'll encounter a mix of topics. Think of it like building a house. You need to lay a solid foundation and build the walls before you can add the roof. Each topic you master is like adding another brick to the foundation. And once the foundation is solid, you can then move on to add the roof and complete the house. Mastering individual topics first ensures that you have a solid base of knowledge so that it's easier for you to tackle exam questions later on. Next tip is to create a definition list for yourself. By the way, for those of you who are taking your A2 physics exam soon, you can click the link below to download the free PDF definition list for Physics A2. If you don't know where to find accurate definitions, then I would highly suggest you to refer to your textbook. Otherwise, you can buy some ready-made notes from bookshops. However, if going to the bookshop is a little inconvenient for you, then you can always buy the notes online from platforms like Shopee. The reason why I think this tip is extremely useful is because by writing the definitions down, you're actively engaging your senses and your cognitive processes, which can lead to better retention of information. Therefore, it is easier for you to recall the definitions during exams. After creating this list, you definitely have to test yourself. Otherwise, you can find a friend to test you or give you a quiz so that you can recall the definitions easily in the future. Now, my next tip is to write down the questions that you have answered incorrectly. For example, if you answered this one question wrongly, then I would suggest you to write the question down and then write down the explanation of why you did wrongly. Could it be due to the fact that you misunderstood the concept or you misread the question? And if that's the case, you have already identified your mistake, so it's less likely for you to make the same mistake again. My fifth tip is to utilize the examiner's report. The examiner's report is incredibly helpful, especially if you are taking essay-based subjects such as economics. The reason is that it offers insights into common mistakes made by students like you and me, and it provides a glimpse into examiners' expectations.
For instance, if we look at this question here, it says, explain what is meant by consumer surplus and use diagrams to blah blah blah. Now we'll look at the mark scheme. As you can see, by defining consumer surplus accurately, you can get up to 2 marks. Then for the application part, we can see that it is necessary to draw 2 diagrams, one for elastic demand curve and the other for inelastic demand curve. To get full 3 marks for each of these diagrams, you must show the impact of indirect tax on the price, quantity, and consumer surplus. And then looking at the examiner's report now, we can see that this examiner's report is telling us what common mistakes students tend to make. For instance, if you miss the keyword difference in your consumer surplus definition, then you might not be able to achieve full marks.
Therefore, I strongly recommend using the examiner's report and also the mark scheme together, particularly when you're tackling essay questions or when you're solving multiple choice questions. This helps clarify the keywords and structure necessary for you to meet the desired standards in your essay. Last but not least, please do not hesitate to seek help when needed. This principle applies universally, whether it's asking the brightest student in your class or consulting your lecturers. Remember to trust yourself throughout the entire process and stay consistent in your efforts. You must also believe that you are able to achieve the grades that you desire, and with dedication, you can definitely succeed. Finally, thank you so much for watching my video. If you found my video helpful, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll see you in my next video.